Okay, I hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving. I definitely needed that break last week, and I might need a permanent one after the NFL season is over, but we'll go into that at the end of the episode. It's December, and the beard is still here, so that means the Patriots are still on their win streak. We'll go over all the major free agent news in MLB, the past 2 weeks of college football, including the coaching carousel of Florida, LSU, and Ole Miss, and the past 2 weeks of the NFL, where it has been a roller coaster heading into the final 4 weeks of the regular season. This is number 182 of HN'P. Let's go. Recorded in central Pennsylvania in front of a live studio audience with your host Ian DiCarlo, this is Hoagies and Pierogis. Okay, so we definitely went over Imanaga accepting his qualifying offer last time. Yeah, that was 2 weeks ago. And then I'm actually on the free agent tracker. And the next article down is, will there be baseball in 2027? Is a salary cap coming? What you need to know about MLB's looming labor battle. ESPN is already trying to frame this as like the Olympics of players versus owners coming up. On that same day, I don't know if I said this, but Taylor Ward was traded from Los Angeles, the Angels, to the Baltimore Orioles for Grayson Rodriguez straight up, and that was a target that the Pirates were hoping to get. And nothing too big happens here over the next week until the Mets traded with the Rangers to send Marcus Semien to the Mets and then Brandon Nimmo to the Rangers. Again, Brandon Nimmo, another name that the Pirates were hoping to get this offseason. The Red Sox got Sonny Gray back in a trade from the Cardinals. That was on the 25th, and then the next day on the 26th, the Blue Jays signed Dylan Cease to a 7-year, $210 million deal. If Dylan Cease gets that much on the open market, just imagine how much Paul Skeens would get. Easily closer to $400 million. So they get the front-end starter that they needed. Then a few days ago, Ron Helsley signed with the Orioles on a 2-year deal. There was rumors that he would try to convert to a starting pitcher, kind of like Clay Holmes did. I don't know. Maybe that Mets pitching staff is getting in their heads. That's kind of weird. I don't think Ryan Helsley would work out as a starter. And then the Mets replaced him with Devin Williams, who comes over from the Yankees. He agreed to a three-year contract that guarantees more than $50 million. And then they're actually kind of hoping that Edwin Diaz signs with them, but that's going to take a little bit more money. People are speculating like 3 years, $65 million. That's a lot to give it to a 30-plus year reliever. So those are all like the major moves. Now, I'm hoping that the Pirates are still in on Kyle Schwarber. There's a faint chance. I really hope that they do. But they could get him and JT Realmuto. Maybe sign Schwarber for 3 years, $30 million per year. And then sign Realmuto for 3 years, $45 million total. And then possibly that would be all you needed to do. I would be a lot more comfortable trading Keller in that situation if they got both of those players in free agency. But I think you would have to wait until you see if you got one or even both of them before you trade Keller. And now in that situation, if you trade Keller for another impact bat in the lineup, now you're looking pretty promising. 3 definite huge upgrades to your starting lineup. That's exactly what they need. Power and veteran leadership, because on Alex Stumpf's AMA on Reddit, he said that he's leaning no towards Kutch coming back. Now, that would really suck. But would it be that much of a loss? He didn't really do much for them last year because he's strictly a DH, and he's not that great of a DH. But getting Realmuto might make even more sense than getting Schwarber, because then you could have Realmuto catch every day that Davis doesn't catch, and then Davis would be the exclusively Skeens catcher because he catches him so well. Now, since Realmuto is getting older, maybe you start Realmuto like 3 out of the 5 days instead of 4 out of the 5 days. But I think he'd be pushing for 4 out of the 5 days for sure. I think he probably has enough endurance to go a little bit longer, because I always think of that clip when he was nodding his head, just shaking his head at Jared Hughes coming out of the bullpen for the Phillies. And he's like, why is he sprinting out here? He's going to waste all of his energy. And then he came out and blew the game against the Pirates. But that's really it for baseball. There's been really no huge news outside of that Dylan Cease contract, which is still crazy. 7 years, $210 million for Cease. That's a lot. He's so inconsistent. He has a 4 ERA. Yeah, Skeens would definitely get close to 400 million, if not over 400 million. The Pirates better sign him to an extension, or at least try to, sooner rather than later. Okay, on to college football. Now, we missed week 13, and then we're going to go over week 14. So week 13, let's just get into it. First game up that I wanted to mention, I thought this was an odd note. Akron played their last game 2 weeks ago. To this day, I'm recording on Tuesday, against Bowling Green, and they won 19-16. But Akron is not bowl eligible because of sanctions, I think, or there maybe academic reasons. I have no idea why. But yeah, they played their last game 2 full weeks ago. If you know that you're not going to make a bowl game, why schedule bye weeks? Like, there's just no reason to. And back on the 21st, NC State beat Florida State 21-11, and Florida State scored a garbage time touchdown. It was 21-3 up until that point. And it was after this game that Florida State said that they were keeping Mike Norvell. What kind of Sandusky level bullshit does he have on Florida State to keep his job? That is crazy to me. Ohio State crushed it. Texas A&M crushed it that week. Georgia crushed it. Oregon beat USC 42-27. I thought that was a pretty impressive win for them. Oklahoma beat Missouri 17-6. Notre Dame hung a 70-burger on Syracuse after that embarrassment of a pit game from Pittsburgh. Wow, Notre Dame is rolling, and they were up 21-0 before their offense even came onto the field. They scored 35 points in the first quarter. Alabama won. BYU is keeping their hopes alive. Utah beat Kansas State 51-47. Oh my God, 98 points total. Miami won. Vanderbilt killed it, and then Pittsburgh came through with the upset against Georgia Tech. My hopes were so high at this point. They won 42-28. But then last week or this week, they just completely dashed that. Texas beat Arkansas 52-37. Their offense, Texas's offense, is looking pretty good. And then Michigan beat Maryland 45-20. Tennessee won. Wisconsin upset Illinois 27-10. TCU upset Houston 17-14. Tulane kept winning. Arizona State kept winning. And then we had nothing else the rest of the week. James Madison is 10-1, and the committee refuses to rank them. I have no idea why. I mean, I know why, but they probably deserve their shot over maybe Tulane, who the AP poll has ranked below JMU. Now, honestly, luckily for us, the rankings did not move much 2 weeks ago. Top 5 remained the same, and then Oregon just moved ahead of Ole Miss because of their win over USC. The only other move, though, that's very puzzling to me is the committee's fixation with Miami. I do not understand it. They moved Miami ahead of Utah after Miami beat Virginia Tech and Utah beat Kansas State 51-47. I mean, Miami put up 38 against Virginia Tech, but I would say that Kansas State's a lot better than Virginia Tech is. So why did you move down Utah? I just really do not understand it. Michigan moved up to 15 that week, and then Texas was right behind them at 16, with USC behind them moving down 2 at 17. Okay, let's get into week 14 here. These were the Friday games. Indiana killed Purdue 56-3. And then this game, this motherfucking game, I would have won so much money off this if Texas A&M would have just won the goddamn thing. Oh, I was so pissed. I was so pissed the entire night. It was terrible. I did end up winning a good parlay on Thursday for betting all the underdogs in the NFL. So I was like, oh, man, I'm going to win big tonight. Like, my parlay made it all the way to this Texas A&M Texas game. And then Texas A&M just completely shits the bed. This was not Texas beating Texas A&M. This was Texas A&M fucking up so bad. I don't know if Marcel Reed's ankle was that hurt that it affected him the rest of the game. He had a pretty bad, I don't know. I thought that he may have had a low ankle sprain when it happened because he bent it pretty bad when he was running. Oh, I was so fucking pissed. And then our buddy Brandon texted in the group chat. He was like, I just learned that Texas has a turf field. And everyone was like, that's what you got out of this? Come on. We all had Texas A&M. And actually, later in the night, we were all on Arizona State too, but they got crushed by Arizona in the second half. Arizona won 23-7, but it was 7-3 Arizona State at halftime. Georgia held off Georgia Tech 16-9. There were no 8 overtimes this year. Ole Miss beat Mississippi State 38-19, took care of business in Lane Kiffin's last game. Utah beat Kansas 31-21. Put Utah higher. Come on. I know it's Kansas, but like they have this 3 quarterback system, mostly 2 quarterback system, that is working out so perfectly for them. They're so good, I think. They're 10-2. None other than Iowa put up 40 points on Nebraska. Man, I don't know how good Nebraska is feeling about extending Matt Rule after getting crushed by Penn State the week before 37-16, and now Iowa 40-16. And then speaking of Penn State, they beat Rutgers on Saturday 40-36. God damn it. How can you not cover against Rutgers? It was 13.5. They only won by 4. Ohio State broke the streak of Michigan winning the game 27-9. It was inevitable that Ohio State was going to win. Michigan was not looking good the entire game, and Ohio State just proved that they were the best team in the country. Absolute dominance, 12-0 on the season. But another pretty dominant team, Texas Tech embarrassed West Virginia 49-0 in West Virginia. Oregon had another pretty defensive game against Washington. They only won 26-14. They're still hanging in there. Then Oklahoma took care of business against LSU. They won. Notre Dame took care of business. They were definitely going to make the playoffs. Alabama beat Auburn 27-20. That was a closer game than I thought it was going to be. BYU beat UCF 41-21 to stay alive. But then my bet of Pitt winning the ACC championship died right here. Miami. Just Pittsburgh, you're so inconsistent. God damn it. Scored 7 points the entire game, and that was in the second quarter. Miami won it 38-7. Vanderbilt beat Tennessee 45-24. And honestly, Diego Pavia is going to be your Heisman winner, in my opinion. It might be saying, but Fernando Mendoza did not have a great game against Purdue, even though they won 56-3. It was the rest of the team that was doing the work for him. But Pavia, I don't know. He has so many rushing yards. He is accounted for, I think, over 30 touchdowns. But I don't know. 27-8 QB touchdown to interception ratio. 3,192 yards. But then also 826 yards rushing and 9 rushing touchdowns on top of that. So yeah, that's 36 total touchdowns accounted for. I think he should probably win it. USC took care of business against UCLA, just getting back to taking care of business. Virginia took care of business against Virginia Tech to get into the ACC championship game. But then, if Pitt would have just beat Miami, SMU lost to Cal, and that would have been their ticket into the game. They needed help. They needed either Virginia to lose or SMU to lose, and they needed a win. And, they completely wasted a great opportunity. They had it there, but they just could not take care of business against Miami at all. I did not even realize that Cal won until right now. Oh my God. God damn it. F2P failed to Pitt. And then Tulane beat Charlotte to round out the top 25. And then the battle of teams that should have been very good this year was Clemson and South Carolina. Clemson came away with the win 28-14. Oh, and Florida State also lost again to Florida. Not a surprise, but again, why would you keep Mike Norvell? 0-5 away and only 2 ACC wins this year. God damn, that's horrible. Okay, so while we're on coaches, John Summerall accepted the Florida job from Tulane for 6 years at $7.5 million per year. The only difference there is that he gets to coach Tulane in their conference championship game. Then Alex Golish ended up going to Auburn from USF. Lane Kiffin ended up going to LSU for 7 years. $91 million at an 80% buyout rate. Just imagine for 1 second, if things go incredibly wrong next year, they have to ride with him. What is LSU doing? I blame LSU more for this than Lane Kiffin, because I would absolutely take that deal 100%. I might actually try to purposely be bad next year and get fired to get all of that and go off into the sunset, never have to work another day in your life. That would be amazing. God damn, what kind of money does LSU have? I mean, they have been no better than Ole Miss has been since Lane Kiffin has been at Ole Miss. A perennial 9 to hopefully 11 win team. How is this any better than Ole Miss? Or what does Ole Miss not have that LSU does have? LSU has maybe like a little bit more prestige, but in today's day and age, you're going to win through the transfer portal no matter what right now. And you cannot rely on these schools, I guess prestige to get you through. You just can't rely on that anymore. It's the only reason why Alabama was so good for so long was because they thrived off of recognition of Nick Saban's name. I mean, yeah, maybe they were paying their players, but everyone was kind of paying their players back then in some form. But now that it's public, no one cares. You can form a good team anywhere. That's just the bottom line. And you cannot rely on LSU's name to carry you. Ole Miss is just as good as LSU. And Pete Golding, now their defensive coordinator, is going to become the permanent Ole Miss head coach. Details on his contract or whatever thing that he has signed has not been released yet. But the offensive coordinator who got on the plane to Baton Rouge with Lane Kiffin was allowed to come back. Why was Lane Kiffin not allowed to come back? You just made a whole mess of this for no reason, LSU. If you're going to allow one coach to come back, allow all of them to come back and lead Ole Miss through the playoffs. That should piss fans off a little bit. I do understand why he was not allowed to coach the team the rest of the way. But come on, dude. That's the best defense. But come on, dude. Okay, we will go over the rankings, but the conference championship games are set. We're doing this before the rankings release, actually. So on Friday, we have James Madison going up against Troy for the Sun Belt Championship. And then we also have North Texas going up against Tulane for the American Athletic Championship. I really am rooting for North Texas to win that game against Tulane and for JMU to win the game against Troy, and they're a 23.5-point favorite. But then North Texas is a 2.5-point favorite over Tulane right now. So what will the committee do if James Madison wins their conference championship game, goes 12-1, and North Texas, who is not ranked right now, also goes 12-1 and wins in the AAC? Oh, I am very intrigued by that possibility, and I really do think that North Texas is going to win that game. But if Tulane wins, they're almost guaranteed to get into the playoff, which would be absolutely scary for them. For the Big 12 championship, we already saw this game. It's going to be BYU up against Texas Tech. Texas Tech dominated. What was it? 2 weeks ago? 3 weeks? That was 3 weeks ago. Yeah, I don't know if that's going to be a close game at all. Sorry, BYU. And there have actually been talks about Sitake, BYU's head coach, being Penn State's top target for their head coaching job. I mean, I guess Polynesian James Franklin is as good as James Franklin. Whatever. Doesn't make a difference to me. Oh, no. We have news that Sitake has begun to inform people that he intends to stay at BYU. Oh, what is Penn State going to do? Are they going to roll with Terry Smith next year? Damn. They can't do anything. Oh, and apparently Penn State is slated to sign 0 recruits on early National Signing Day. Unless Penn State signs someone in the late signing period, they could become the first P4 class ever to have no one sign. The closest thing that this person could find was SMU and Washington with 10. What the fuck is going on? Penn State can't do anything right now. For the SEC championship, it's going to be Georgia up against Alabama. For the Big Ten championship, it's going to be number 1 Ohio State against number 2 Indiana. Oh, they have not played each other this year. I'm looking so forward to this. 2 12-0 teams in the Big Ten championship. My God. And then for the ACC championship, it's Duke against Virginia. So we're going to have to see where the committee ranks Miami. That would be wild if they were still in. Even if Virginia gets in, say Ohio State's going to win, Indiana's going to get in no matter what. Alabama, if they lose to Georgia, will they still get in at 10-3? I don't know about that. But then BYU would definitely be out if Texas Tech wins. So yeah, I might try to get a live reaction to those rankings. All right, rankings time. Let's go. Live reaction. So James Madison is finally ranked there at number 25, but North Texas is above them at number 24. So now it doesn't even matter if North Texas wins or not. If North Texas wins, they're going to make it into the playoffs. If JMU wins, they're fucked. That is so shitty to place North Texas ahead of JMU. What is that? And Tulane is all the way up to number 20 there. So they will 100% make it if they win against North Texas. And then if North Texas beats them, they will 100% make it. So the AAC Conference champion will 100% make it now. Wow. What? Utah goes down to 15? For what? And then Vanderbilt is right ahead of them. Wow. Is it just because the other teams did so well? Like Vanderbilt moved ahead of them because they crushed Tennessee. But does Utah deserve that? That's rough. Number 13 is Texas. They're up 3 after they beat Texas A&M. Oh boy. They're going to need some help from blowouts in these championship games, like specifically from Texas Tech against BYU. And I don't even know who else. Maybe Georgia blows out Alabama. Maybe in that case, Texas makes it in, but it's going to be rough for them. Thank God. Okay, Miami stays still at number 12. They did not move up after beating Pittsburgh. Thank God. And number 11 is still BYU. If they win, they're in against Texas Tech in the Big 12 championship. All right, so that's kind of what I was waiting to see with Miami here, if they would move up or not. Oh, Notre Dame is number 10, moving down 1? Oh, why? Alabama is number 9. And Alabama jumped Notre Dame because they beat Auburn? What? Oklahoma stays at number 8 there. Texas A&M down 4 to number 7 after losing to Texas. They might get lucky and get a home game. And then Ole Miss... Actually, so they were number 7 last week, and they moved up to number 6. I think they're the same team without Lane Kiffin. I mean, they still have their offensive coordinator that came back, and their defensive coordinator who is now the head coach. So I think they should be totally fine. This is not a Florida State situation where they have a backup quarterback in and they're going to lose in the playoffs. Like, it's the same exact team as it's been all year. Number 5, Oregon. Up 1 because of Texas A&M losing. And then Texas Tech and Georgia moved up 1 because of Texas A&M. So Georgia 3, Texas Tech 4, Indiana 2, Ohio State 1. All right, so for the possible matchups, we got conference champion number 5, which would be either Tulane or North Texas, up against Oregon. Oregon is definitely going to get a home game there, probably. I don't think the rankings will affect them that much there at number 5. And then Alabama up against Oklahoma projected there. And then we got conference champion number 4. I believe that would be the ACC champion against Ole Miss. So Ole Miss would definitely win that. Whether that be Duke or Virginia, it's probably going to be Virginia, but we'll see what happens there. And then last in the preliminary round, we got Notre Dame going up against Texas A&M at home, who they already played and lost against. So then that would probably put Oregon up against Texas Tech. Then Alabama or Oklahoma up against Ohio State. That game, I think, is a toss-up, but Oklahoma already won. And then we got Ole Miss going up against Georgia. Georgia already won that game. And then Notre Dame or Texas A&M going up against Indiana. And just based off of Texas A&M's performance last week against Texas, I think Notre Dame's going to be heading for a rematch in the playoffs with Indiana if that happens. So I do like this. We'll see how Ohio State does with the bye week, unlike last year. This is a decent bracket, and I definitely think that Oregon-Texas Tech game would be awesome. All right, let's get college football over for the week. All right, week 12, here we go. First game of the week, Bills at Texans. Josh Allen is now 0-4 at Energy Stadium and 1-4 against the Texans overall. And the Texans defense came to play. Let's go. 2 interceptions off Josh Allen. And they balled out, only allowing 3 points in the second half from the Bills. I actually was really mad that Josh Allen did so bad because I only got 10 points in fantasy from him that week. All right, Patriots at Bengals. What should have been an easy win was one of the most frustrating wins this season. I was like, what in the fuck is wrong with you, McDaniels? Stop running the ball up the goddamn middle. It hasn't worked a single goddamn time in that game. I have not seen a single run to the left or right at all. Like, what were they trying to do? And then it really only seemed to get worse because Will Campbell and Jared Wilson were carted off with injuries. Well, I said at this point, well, it was nice while it lasted. Season was toast if either one of these guys were put on season-ending IR. But luckily, Jared Wilson, high ankle sprain, he's out 4 to 6 weeks. That might be the rest of the season, might not be. Apparently, it's on the more mild side, so we're hoping 4 weeks. He's not on IR. But we have actually, to this date, still have not heard the actual result of Will Campbell's MRI. But everyone's saying it's an MCL sprain and not a tear. I think he avoided the worst, but until those results come in, I mean, I'm going to be clenching my butthole waiting. He might actually be on season-ending IR. But, I mean, he's going to do everything that he can to come back. But he might not be back until after the divisional round when we get the first seed and have another bye week. But, yeah, T. Higgins also got knocked the fuck out. So there's some payback there, just a little bit. And I was getting really scared at the end here because Mitchell Tinsley just cooked Gonzo for a touchdown, and it was 23-20 at that point. Like, fuck me, dude. We can never put these games away the past 5 weeks because of injuries that mount in each game. And at that point, like against the Buccaneers, against the Falcons, here against the Bengals, it was getting bad. It was getting very ugly. And then I was clenching my butthole even harder because Tinsley made another great catch on 4th and 7 to convert with 47 seconds left. But the defense held with some awesome pass defenses from Carlton Davis and another big one from Marcus Jones. And the Pats won their 9th straight, 26-20. And then they won their 10th game. But at what cost? That offensive line was hurting. 2 out of the 5 starters gone, just like that. But the Pats have scored 23 or more points in all of their wins and 13 and 14 in their losses. I find it hard to vision scoring less than 20 points with how on the offense is right now, to be honest with you. And we'll get into that after we go for week 13 here. Giants at the Lions. What were the Lions doing, and why is Jameis Winston the most exciting player in the NFL? A Winston touchdown reception from Gunnar Olszewski put the Giants up 27-17. But then, of course, it's the Giants, and Jake Bates tied up the game at 27 with a kick that went just right in the corner of the uprights. There was overtime in Detroit. In the first play, Gibbs broke off a 69-yard touchdown run. Oh, my God. 219 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns, 11 catches for 45 yards, and a touchdown. That was good for 60.1 points in our league because we give a 5-point bonus for a 200-yard rushing performance. And then Aiden Hutchinson sacked Jameis Winston for the exclamation mark win. The Lions won 34-27 on a great comeback. All right, Rudolph got the start in the Steelers-Bears game. They almost came back, but Caleb Williams, Loveland, and DJ Moore were just way too much for the Steelers' defense to overcome. Won 28-31. All right, Vikings-Packers was up next, and J.J. McCarthy really just sucks, huh? I don't know how else to put it. 12 for 19 for 87 yards and 2 interceptions? What? 87 yards? Come on. You're no Justin Fields. I mean, Jesus, but that's really bad. You have no legs to back it up, so throwing for 87 yards is not going to get it done. The Packers won 23-6. An early morning game had the Seahawks a little bit foggy, especially after that 4-interception performance against the Rams for Sam Darnold, but they managed to hold off the Titans, who have been pesky for the past couple weeks. 30-24. That was a good game from the Titans. All right, game of the week. The Colts really said, take this Jonathan Taylor and shove it down your throat. But the Chiefs used all of their black magic in this season to tie the game at 20 and send it to overtime. They were down 20-9 at the start of the fourth quarter. I don't know why they didn't give the ball to Jonathan Taylor at all the last 2 drives where they went 3 and out. The Chiefs, of course, ended up winning 23-20 because the Colts couldn't do shit after halftime. All right, the Ravens won 23-10, but it looked very bad in the first half. They're never going to shake the bad at 1 p.m. allegations at home, which is a positive for me because I'm going to that Ravens-Patriots game for sure. I secured my ticket last Monday. All right, Browns-Raiders. This is Shadir's first start. He was actually cooking, albeit against the Raiders, but it's still NFL action. It was 14-0 Browns pretty early. But then Shedeur interception to bring him back down to earth a little bit. But he won in his first start. That's something that hasn't been done in 17 years for the Browns. A quarterback winning their debut with them. They won 24-10. Jaguars won 27-24 in overtime. T-Loss sucks. Three touchdown passes, but he still sucks. The Cowboys came back all the way from down 21-0 against the Eagles to win 24-21 on the last second field goal. Falcons beat the Saints 24-10. Kirk Cousins won them that game. Shuck had to throw 43 passes. Jesus Christ. And then the Rams beat the Buccaneers 34-7. That was embarrassing for the Buccaneers. And the Rams, at that point, Matthew Stafford was looking like an MVP frontrunner. 273 yards and 3 touchdowns, 25 on 35 passing. And then these Panthers, oh my God, these Panthers. They lost to the 49ers 20-9 last Monday night. And Brock Purdy threw 3 interceptions. I was like, oh, maybe Mac Jones should be starting. But yeah, I don't know. It's a real toss-up. The Panthers defense looked pretty decent in that game, although they still gave up 20 points, but that offense couldn't do shit in that one. Their offense, up and down, up and down, up and down, so inconsistent. And that's the reason they were 6-6 after that 49ers game. Okay, so that was it for Week 12. We'll get into Week 13. Let's go over the Thanksgiving games that happened last Thursday. First one was Packers at the Lions. Before the game started, there was news that Frank Ragnow was going to be coming back from retirement for the Lions. They could not have been any more excited for that. But then the next day, the Lions thought that they were going to get Frank Ragnow back from retirement, but he didn't pass his physical, so he can't play for them this year. He had a bad hamstring or something like that, like a busted hamstring. Everyone was like, yeah, he played through a fractured throat. No wonder he didn't realize that his hamstring was bad. What a catch on 4th and 3 from Wicks to seal the deal for the Packers. And the Lions tried their best to come back, but they were terrible on 4th down, and Goff took way too many sacks. And they have to stop running Gibbs right up the middle. The Packers won 31-24. First underdog win of the day. And man, the Chiefs really did use all their black magic last week against the Colts, because the Cowboys pulled through thanks to clutch Pickens and clutch CD Lamb. Oh my God, the Cowboys won 31-28. Dak had a great game, 27 for 39 with 320 yards and 2 touchdowns. The Chiefs are 1-5 away and 5-1 at home. Oh, and why did Jake Ferguson fist that turkey like that? And then the last game to round out the night. Bengals at the Ravens. Burrow made his return, and there were 3 fumbles from the Ravens in the first half, and they were all very bad. But there were 5 Bengals takeaways total, and they won 32-14. It was an all Thanksgiving underdogs win. Bet on all 3 of them with a 50% increase. I won $880 on a $25 bet. Oh, you love to see it. I should have added the Bears to that too, because the Bears won in dominant fashion. They had 281 yards rushing as a team, and both Monungai and Swift went for over 120 yards and a touchdown. The Bears won 24-15, and the Eagles OC house was egged. And people are in the replies on Twitter acting like his whole family was murdered. I get it. Like, you should not throw eggs at someone's house. It is vandalism. But it's just eggs. If Schefter wouldn't have tweeted that out, no one would have known or cared. All right, on Sunday, the 49ers beat the Browns 26-8. The Jags beat the Titans 25-3. And then the Texans beat the Colts 20-16. So now the Jaguars are in first place in the AFC South, but then the Colts are right behind them, and then the Texans are right behind them. It's becoming a really good race in the AFC South. I had a feeling that the Texans were going to win that game. The Colts offense has just been struggling bad, and the Texans defense has been on one, especially after beating the Bills 2 weeks ago. The Dolphins hung on against the Saints after the Saints recovered the onside kick at the end of the game, 21-17. The Jets beat the Falcons 27-24 behind Tyrod Taylor. Oh my God. Falcons, how can you be so bad after a 30-point game from Bijan Robinson in fantasy? He had 142 yards rushing and a touchdown. What the hell? Adonai Mitchell went off with 8 receptions, 102 yards and a touchdown. The Jets are now 3-9 and ruining their draft position. The Buccaneers finally rebounded with a win against the Cardinals, 20-17. But the biggest win out of the NFC South this week was the Panthers beating the Rams 31-28. Of course, Chuba Hubbard went off in this game with 83 yards rushing and then 41 yards receiving and a touchdown. That would be 20 points for him. I really needed that this week. I scored 63 points in fantasy this week. It was bad. My ass is going to get blown out in the playoffs. So we found out that Max Brosmer is actually worse than J.J. McCarthy is. The Seahawks won 26-0. The Bills gashed the Steelers on the ground. They won 26-7 behind 32 carries and 144 yards from James Cook. The Chargers beat the Raiders 31-14. The Broncos beat the Commanders in overtime 27-26. Their defense shit the bed. If they would have just fucking not allowed the Commanders offense to score in overtime, I would have won like $900 on fucking Monday night. Oh, God. Yeah, I put $400 on the Patriots money line and Broncos -5.5. With that big bet that I won on Thursday. So I didn't technically lose any of my own money, but it's money lost still. And then on Monday night, I was very, very worried for this Giants game with Will Campbell and Jared Wilson being out. I was like, oh, God. And then Garrett Bradbury was questionable with an illness. He played, but Drake May was sticking his hands up Bradbury's sick ass. But the worry dissolved pretty quickly. Marcus Jones, 94-yard punt return, number 2 on the year. It was 10-0 Patriots. And then Theo Johnson got wrecked trying to have darts back on a clearly legal hit, and they got smacked to drop the ball on third down. Get the fuck out of here, Theo Johnson. That was on the next drive. And I know that it's the Giants, and maybe it was the Jameis Winston Giants, but try telling that to the Packers and Lions. 17-0 Patriots after the first quarter. Let's go. And now, after that, I wasn't making too many other notes, but then... And I don't know why the funniest plays keep happening against the Patriots. First the butt fumble, then the Colts, whatever the hell punt they were trying to do, and now this Younghoe Koo kicking the ground trying to kick a field goal. Oh my God. Oh, it was so funny. He clearly planted his foot way in front of the ball from where he should have, but instead of stopping, he still tried to kick. I don't know why. But then him stumbling and then just like pausing because his controller disconnected or something, and then the holder getting wrecked the minute he picked up the ball was fucking hilarious. That is one of the funniest things that I've seen since that Colts punt, whatever they were doing. Jackson Dart saying, "Oh my God," afterwards was so funny. The Patriots won 33-15, and I was suddenly feeling a lot better about the Patriots than I had over the past 2 weeks. That win against the Bengals was ugly. Even that Jets win was just all right, but this was awesome. May, again, still has not broken 300 yards in the season, but he leads the league in passing and accuracy. 25 total touchdowns, 6 interceptions. This has been an amazing season so far, and well far of my expectations. I predicted 10-7, so 11-2 is already way better. way better. But I do believe that is it for this week. Now, I don't know if I want to keep doing the podcast. Straight up, I don't know if I want to. I have invested so much of my time into it, and it's not like, it's I chose to do that. It's not like I'm forced to do this. I do love doing this, but it's gotten to the point where it just takes so much effort, and I don't have time to, I don't know, I feel like I don't have enough time to sit down and write like good jokes for the episode like I used to. Like I used to make skits and everything, maybe not skits, but like whole like little interstitials all by myself, and I just haven't been motivated to do that. I don't know. I still feel like funny enough to come up with this stuff on the fly. Like I came up with a lot of this stuff on the fly. It might not have been funny, but it was at least like listenable to. I don't know. It's become a lot, and it's just a lot for me to keep doing this every single week. And not doing it last week felt really good, to be honest with you. It just made me have time to sit back and relax. But it's also like, this is how I keep up with sports for the most part. So I don't know, maybe I should move to a seasonal thing. Like maybe not do it year round, maybe only do it during football season. Because the baseball portion is like, man, who cares? No one cares about hockey. No one cares about when I talk about basketball because I know nothing about basketball. The football portion is the most interesting part. And I feel like for the past couple months that I've been just going through the motions and just doing a straight up recap with nothing really to add because I just don't have time to add it. So we'll see. I will keep going until the end of the football season. There's no doubt about that. I will keep going because I want to see the Patriots win a Super Bowl on the podcast. How awesome would that be? But yeah, that's just my thoughts for now. I don't know how much longer this is going to go past the end of the football season. So we'll see. We'll probably get to episode 200. That might be the last one. I don't know. I thought that maybe do a more fantasy football focused podcast where I might talk to the person that I'm playing that week. I think that might be interesting. But yeah, because I think all my friends are interesting and they're funny and we all mesh together well. So, but yeah, that's my thoughts for now, and we'll see where it goes. But in the meantime, make sure to leave a like and comment on each video and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hoagies and Pierogis is available on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Follow us on Instagram for clips throughout the week. And thank you very much. We'll catch you next time. We'll leave you with this. Munch. Recorded in central Pennsylvania in front of a live studio audience with your host, Ian DiCarlo. This is Hoagies and Pierogis.